BNC, America's Black News Channel. Watch 15 minutes. Share with everyone. Finally, news that speaks to us.
Over the last year, the Black Lives Matter movement taking center stage in courtrooms across the country. And while there were momentous victories, the effort for widespread police reform at the federal level, it stalled and died in Congress. To recap that year in social justice, we're joined by Dr. Rashawn Ray, who is a professor of sociology at the University of Maryland, and he also is with the Brookings Institute. He joins us from Washington, D.C. Dr. Ray, we have seen guilty verdicts. Derek Chauvin, the three men who chased, cornered, and killed Ahmaud Arbery. Kim Potter found guilty but given a light sentence. No justice still for Breonna Taylor. So all things considered over the last year, have we seen progress on the social justice front?
Well, I think progress is stalled in some ways. And I also just want to say, I want to take this moment to acknowledge you, all the staff at BNC, for this momentous occasion. The 1 year mark is such a big deal. I really enjoy coming on here and I consider it an honor. Regarding police reform, one of the things that you highlighted here is the differences in these particular outcomes. I want to put this in a broad context for people. I want to start at the top. Let's go at the federal level. The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act failed. The Senate did not even vote on it. It is one of the biggest failures that we will look back on over the next 25 years that did not happen and continues to see and play out on the backs and bodies of Black people. What do I mean by that? Police killings have not decreased. Over 1,000 people in the United States are killed by police every single year. Black people are 3.5 times more likely than whites to be killed by police when they're not attacking and when they're unarmed. These statistics continue to play out. When we look at individual court cases, it's mixed. What is the big theme with the court cases, particularly when we think about George Floyd, when we think about Daunte Wright, when we think about Ahmaud Arbery, and then, of course, we can juxtapose that with Breonna Taylor. What's the differences between those? Whether or not a person actually had a cell phone to record what was happening or some form of body-worn camera footage. We did not get that with Breonna Taylor. I think that's one of the reasons why those outcomes were different. And we have to be mindful of what would have happened had the video not been released in the Ahmaud Arbery case. So it's mixed, but I will say there's a lot of movement at the state level. There's a big difference between police accountability on one hand in some states and a lack of it in other states. The purple states kind of hold the key, particularly coming up to the midterm elections.
Dr. Ray, one of the things that's fascinating is how we try to balance the issue of being racist with being a realist. And I think that there's no greater case than that of Ahmaud Arbery. The trial, the prosecutors didn't want to bring up race, and yet we saw in the federal prosecution, it was all about race. How do we get to that point where we can talk about race in terms of realism as opposed to a white America looking at us and saying, you guys are nothing more than racist?
I think we just have to do it in a very bold and direct way. We have to enter what I call and what other academics call brave spaces. So we need for prosecutors and defense attorneys, on the other hand, to walk into the courtroom and consider that to be a brave space. We saw sprinkles of that with certain judges, certain prosecutors, and certain defense attorneys. And we also can never hide the fact of the power and strength of Black families. We saw that with Ahmaud Arbery's family, who said, we will not simply take this deal. We want to see this court case be public. And as you noted, that is where the racism actually came out. Look, one of the big things that academic research highlights is that it typically takes 3 times before a Black person will say that something that has happened to them is because of race. We have to stop being afraid to say that something is racist, because it is. And if we want it to change, what we have to do is pay attention to policy, not only at the state level, but at the federal level. And this is why we need to continue to pressure the White House as well as Congress to do what is right to create racial equity in the United States.
Final question before I let you go. I've got a minute left. Are you optimistic?
You know, I'm cautiously optimistic. There's a lot of change happening at the state level. People should pay attention to their state legislature. People should get involved, not just vote in presidential elections, but vote locally. Pay attention to what is happening in your backyard. Support candidates, vote for them, campaign for them, donate money, and run yourself. We can make things better, and we can keep pushing.
Dr. Rashawn Ray, who will tell you from the University of Maryland, where he teaches sociology, Fear the Turtle, and also from the Brookings Institution, where he's one of the smartest brothers I know.